Hello. Namaste, everybody. Um, India started the reforms from Narasimha Ji government. Even it goes back a little bit when Indira Gandhi also said socialist philosophy. See, the one problem we are facing is uh, we got a very good democracy. Democracy works with majority voting, and so to get the votes of 100 crore Indians, the politicians have to be amenable. They can't say this is our fixed agenda. They have to listen to people. Market economy is different. Market economy, demand and supply, they determine. So market economy countries in the Western world, they got long established democracies. They understood what is the need for somebody and how to deliver it. So the market economy, as we understood initially, so we had license Raj, and we had the those who are closer to the government, functionaries, minister, they get to supply and they get contracts and they can get money out of it, huge profit and commissions, kickbacks, all those things were there. So at that time, if one has to introduce market economy when these problems are not solved, then both democracy and market economy they will fail. So in communism, there's a big difference. The communism, it's a stated objective. It's initially the way the communism started was for equality, and money will have lesser play in communism. That's what we understood from all philosophies. So the government is working for the common welfare and equality. Mostly Chinese yesteryears, they had allotted houses or apartment to to their own government officials, not based on the rank, just based on their necessity. If a big family was there, they got a bigger apartment. Even a higher official than that man who has least family, smaller family, he gets a smaller. So it was based on the need. Now the world was through the trade base, to satisfy the customer or consumer, we have moved all the countries aligned in one way, that is consumerism. So anything, the product or service, that has to be competitive. This particular word has got importance for India. So Indian democracy, most of the time, it is awarding multinational companies and no small. It didn't give uh, good importance, adequate, proportional importance to the small business. Small businesses have no say in how they operate. Mostly the most few bigger businesses from the days Tata's, Birla's, and now Ambani's and Adani's are ruling. Whatever they say becomes the industrial core. So with market economy, the main difference in a matured uh, Western system and India is the major problem I'm saying. Okay, I just take Australia and New Zealand for an example. The US, in some portion, it's not serving the people with what they need rather than it has got a top to down structure. In Australia and New Zealand, we got a very good medical system, right? The government it gives everybody a card through which you can consult a doctor without even paying a fees. So when somebody compares, this is a democracy, market economy, follow very conveniently the Indian government. I mean, for an example, Indian government, many governments I can talk about, Indian government conveniently forgot it. Almost for consultation and even for specialist diagnosis, the Australians and New Zealanders are not paying money, big money. And the professional control, what they can do, what they can't do, everything is very strict here. You will lose license. So this kind of top level uh, professional ethics are there, and how the professionals here strive hard to satisfy the customer, that's a patient. Their major fee revenue is given by government, but the government doesn't fund them. But what it does is, when a patient is satisfied and he signs a paper, then that day's fees is given to the doctor. There is maximum and all those things come into play. Okay, if a doctor has more than what the government pays fees, they also ask for that money from the patient. What do you think? If a doctor charges more than the government pays, patients will be less. They are less inclined to go to that doctor, and they go to the doctor where the government funding is taken care of. So there's no maximum limits or something. And on medicine also, the government steps in with it, evolves all the medicines available, how we can subsidize some of the medicines that is mostly needed by the patients with that card, Medicare card or something, that's up to a certain level. It's high level of income. It's not Indian income level. 100,000, even people with 100,000 can get a, I think so. I mean, I'm not very sure about the uh, changes in the amount. It changes all the time. So Medicare, mostly majority or even 80-90% of Australians will have access to that. So medical facility, on consultation, you don't need to pay. Specialists also subsidize amount. Many specialists say you don't need to pay now. Once the government pays us money, we can take. And some of the specialists take full amount and then they reimburse you. That kind of medical system is here. If you don't have this, and if we talk about Australia and we want to have this kind of market economy, how can it survive? Market, this is a health market. In the health market, every medicine is evaluated for this kind of subsidy. So yeah, all pharmaceutical companies will have to negotiate with the body that is subsidizing this. So they have to prove their worthiness, how. So the price, they can't hike like whatever they want, like the other hospitals charge in India. It can't happen. In India, any doctor can charge anything, no control, and the money a patient is paying is nothing. How the patient is treatment is different. How on the face of it, as a customer, how is he treated? That's will they allow somebody without money? And if he says government will fund, so government has absolutely nothing providing to the citizen for the health. In this scenario, if you want to evaluate if you want to just follow with blindly the Western system of market economy in health sector, big questions come. And in Australia, we got a very good insurance scheme, health insurance. Health insurance, it's not in India. I know many health insurance companies may not pay, citing one reason or the other. In Australia or Western country, there are controls governing insurance rules. So they can't just go away like that. Whatever they want, they have to give. It's like insurance, either insurance covers or the government cover, or and public hospitals are very good, but selective operations are taking some time, maybe a year or two, but it's absolutely free if you're selecting that, or if you are going to a specialist hospital, if you're insured health insurance, they pay. So to pay to that health insurance, the salaries are that up to that mark. In India, the salaries for major portion, maybe 80% of the people are below normal. I mean, it's not this kind of money, but the hospitals are charging like foreign countries. Then how can the major population pay for that? So this is the health system cannot be in the private hands as it is in India until you find a solution that is good, and you have a solution to fund majority of people, or you can find a way to get medicines, that is, you get the government can get the patents, and then they get the license to produce it at a very cheaper rate, and then it's possible. But at the moment, it's not happening that way, and public hospitals have to be strengthened quite a lot, and the patients have to be treated like a customer, giving highest whether they should not look into the customer whether he's a paying customer or not paying. As in these hospitals also, there are paid beds. They are treated everybody same. So this is about the health. The second factor is about the education. In Australia, New Zealand, the domestic students are paying not much for higher education if they are within the income limit or something. It's not heavy, and it's compared to the Australian income, the payment is not much. And not only that, during the course of study, they can get some student allowance from the government as well. So from that, they can pay installments, or the government finances their education at a very low interest rate, or sometimes no interest. So they can repay only when they get employment. It's not through the banks or something. In India also there is a scheme like that, but the problem is university education in India is very high. Here for domestic students, it's not high compared to the income in this country. So actually, education is not a barrier here. Education here is almost free if you just take that amount. So government subsidizes all the universities, and based on the number of seats they have taken, even school education is completely free here, and some specialty schools are created to take the talent, that also free. I mean, private schools are there, and it's very less in number. People prefer public education. Private schools are very high. So if somebody is to go there, it's because the family is earning a lot of income, they go there. Otherwise, public institutions produce a lot of good students, and that's it. So in education and health, India cannot just follow thinking. It's also market economy. The government has, so recently in communist countries, we talked about the housing. Now China recently, in 2019, 2020, China introduced um, tutoring. I mean, it's about tutoring. No private tutoring services for school education. It says for profit oriented, no tutoring. So it has taught us something good. In India also they can follow. Everybody wants to, in Australia, a teacher who is in a private or government school cannot take tuition to a student. It's a conflict of interest. So it's not possible. They cannot do it. In India, is it? They have to enact a law for that. So these are the minimum thinking. So free economy, free market economy. Before introducing free market economy, the Indian thinker should have thought well about two things. One is education, another is health. So these two things are so for example, in Satyasai, he wanted to show education should be free and health should be free. He opened absolutely free institution for an example. That's the way it has to be. So absolutely free education, if it is not possible, at least government has to subsidize the universities to that extent, and it should say colleges, whoever wants to have within that limits will be funded. Otherwise, you go private, whatever you charge, they. I mean, so and grading system should be taken over by expert committee, not by the. I mean, we are not satisfied about how the grading system works there. It is subservient to the rich people now. I don't say rich people or poor people. It should be equal. It should give importance to equality. The private institute, private school, that's a huge problem. From LKG, UKG, if they charge abnormal fees, then what is the mind of the parents and the children? What kind of life he will be creating for others if they are treated like a customer, and they say unless you pay this amount, this kind of thing we want to avoid in education and health. A patient, if he thinks he's unwanted, unless I got this kind of money, I can't get treated, I have to die. Is this the way we want to have humanity? Humanity, the child we neglected, and the world we neglect, and we want to, the in between we want to live. How can we live with a proper sleep? I can't, because we are neglecting a large proportion of a society growing, that will grow into next generation, and that has already served the other population that already served us, and it is going to die, or it is going to age without being considered as a human being, and put it in the age homes. And the kind of mindset they think it is there in the West, and we want to follow. In aged care, in Western system is quite different. Very government funded, totally regulated. They have every say, and even one problem the parliament is addressing. You can't just think we are implementing. If you didn't live, you have to take people who live there and understand those systems. Otherwise, don't implement foolishly these things. If you don't know, don't do it. So don't take education and health as profit centers. They are not. They are to be given universally. Full stop. If you don't understand, you didn't understand market economy. The market economy, if you want to do that education, as I already told, this is how the Western countries are doing. The communist countries should have been giving it free. These countries, Western countries, are doing it in another way, with competition coming in. Those kind of, they want people to be competitive. Still, the government takes the responsibility for health and education. The Indian government can't just wash its hands about these two sectors. It is the Indian government's responsibility. If a single person dies, even single person is not properly educated because of money, it is government's responsibility. They have to understand it. Thank you. We'll meet later.